AITA for leaving my family without a turkey after my mom criticized my fiancé and said she wouldn't be a good wife and mother. I'm 29M, and I recently got engaged to my amazing fiancé, Julia, 28F. Julia and I have been together for 4 years, and she's everything I've ever wanted in a partner. She's smart, driven, hilarious, and has a heart of gold. She's also fiercely independent, which is one of the many reasons I fell in love with her. But Julia's independence and career-oriented nature have always clashed with my mom's traditional worldview, and it's been a sore point in our relationship with my family for a while now. My mom is, let's say, old school. She's a perfectionist who runs her household like a well-oiled machine. Thanksgiving at her house is a huge production every year. She's the kind of woman who spends days preparing everything from scratch, decorating the table with seasonal centerpieces, and presenting dishes that look like they belong on the cover of Bon Appetit. While I've always admired her dedication, it's also a point of contention when it comes to Julia. Julia, on the other hand, doesn't cook, like at all. Her job as a corporate attorney is intense, and between long hours and her natural lack of interest in cooking, she's just never picked it up. It's not a big deal to me. I'm no chef myself, and we make things work. But to my mom, it's like Julia's lack of culinary skills is a moral failing. My mom has repeatedly expressed her concerns, saying things like, "How is she going to take care of you? And what about your future kids?" A mother has to know how to cook. It's exhausting and outdated, but I've always tried to smooth things over. I hope my mom will come around eventually. This year, we were invited to my family's house for Thanksgiving. Normally, my mom handles the entire meal herself. She's never let anyone else touch the turkey, in particular. But a week before the holiday, Julia called my mom to ask if we could bring anything. To my surprise, my mom asked if Julia could make the turkey. When Julia told me about this, I could see the panic on her face. "I don't know how to cook a turkey," she said, her voice tinged with worry. "What if I ruined Thanksgiving for everyone?" I reassured her, telling her it was odd for my mom to ask this of her, but maybe it was her way of including her in the family traditions. Julia hesitated, but eventually agreed to try. Still, she was nervous. She had a huge workload leading up to Thanksgiving, and the thought of spending hours researching recipes and attempting to cook something so important was daunting. After a few days of stressing about it, we came up with a compromise. Instead of attempting to cook a turkey from scratch, Julia decided to order a pre-cooked one from Whole Foods. It was a solid plan. We'd still bring a delicious turkey to the table, but without the risk of Julia accidentally botching it. She was actually excited when she picked it up, telling me, "I think this will be perfect. It's professional, and I didn't have to risk setting the kitchen on fire." The big day arrived, and we walked into my parents' house with the turkey in tow. Julia had even transferred it to a nice platter to make it look as presentable as possible. My mom greeted us at the door, and when she saw the turkey, her smile froze. "Oh, you brought it cooked already?" she asked, her tone stiff. Julia, ever polite, explained, "Yes, I wanted to make sure it turned out well, and I thought this would be a good way to contribute without risking ruining the meal." My mom gave a tight-lipped smile and said, "I see. Well, I guess that works." From that moment on, the atmosphere felt tense. My mom barely acknowledged Julia for the rest of the evening. She spent most of her time whispering to her sisters in the kitchen, casting glances in our direction. I tried to ignore it, but Julia was visibly uncomfortable. At one point, she whispered to me, "I feel like she's mad at me. Did I do something wrong?" I told her not to worry about it and that my mom was probably just stressed about hosting, but deep down I was getting angry. Things came to a head when I pulled my mom aside to ask what was going on. "Is everything okay?" I asked. She didn't mince words. "I'm disappointed. Honestly. I asked Julia to make the turkey, and she couldn't even be bothered to try. It feels like she doesn't respect our traditions or the effort I put into this family. How do you expect her to be a wife or a mother if she can't handle something as simple as this?" I was stunned. I couldn't believe she was making such a big deal over this. "Mom," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, "Julia works incredibly hard. She didn't want to risk ruining the meal, so she found a solution. Why does it matter how the turkey got here, as long as it's good? It matters because it's about effort," she snapped. This was her chance to show she cares about this family, and she took the easy way out. She's not ready to be a part of this. At that point, I saw red. Julia is amazing, Mom. Her lack of cooking skills doesn't define her worth as a person or a partner. If you can't respect her, we're leaving. My mom crossed her arms and said, "Go ahead, but don't think I'm the one being unreasonable here. Respect is earned, and she's shown none." Without another word, I walked back to Julia, told her we were leaving, and grabbed the turkey on our way out. Julia protested, saying maybe we should stay and smooth things over, but I was too angry. I didn't want to spend another minute in that house. We drove across town to her parents' place, where we were welcomed with open arms. Her family was thrilled to see us, and we ended up having a wonderful evening. But I could tell Julia was still upset. She kept saying, "I didn't mean to cause a fight. I just wanted to do something nice." I reassured her over and over that she did nothing wrong, but the hurt in her eyes broke my heart. The fallout, though, has been brutal. My sister called me the next day, furious. Do you have any idea how much you upset Mom by leaving? She was crying after you left, saying Thanksgiving was ruined. I tried to explain my side. Mom was out of line, and I wasn't going to let her disrespect Julia like that. She's been critical of her from the start, and it's not fair. My sister sighed. You know how much cooking means to Mom. It's her love language. When Julia didn't even try to make the turkey, it felt like she didn't care about bonding with the family. I countered, why is it on Julia to prove herself? Mom's never asked me to cook a turkey. Why is it suddenly a requirement for her? It's not about the turkey, my sister argued. It's about effort. Mom feels like Julia doesn't care about fitting in with the family. We went back and forth for a while, but neither of us budged. Now the family group chat is in chaos. Some relatives are siding with me, saying my mom was out of line. Others are saying I should have stayed to keep the peace. My mom hasn't spoken to me since, and I honestly don't know if I should be the one to reach out first. Julia feels terrible, even though I keep telling her this isn't her fault. She keeps saying, I don't want to come between you and your family, which only makes me angrier at my mom for putting her in this position. So, Reddit, AITA, should I have handled things differently? Should I apologize to my mom? Or was I right to stand up for Julia